Hey, welcome to the big show. Ben Mankiewicz, Christy Lemire, Matt Atchity. I keep trying to think of a different way to introduce the show each week, and I had a good one this week, and then I left that notebook at home. So
what happened?
We're going to do Welcome to What the Flick, the only show with rampant cursing.
We can curse a lot here. It's very liberating.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Matt, Jesus. Christ, you say that like, what are you, 39 years old for crying out?
You would think.
Matt's going to be 40 soon.
I know.
Really soon.
I'm going to have to give up my job. I'm now officially too old to work on the internet.
That's true.
Is it easier to turn 40 when you already look 40?
Yes. I haven't been carded since 15.
I'm such a
Not
dick.
that I've been drinking since then.
Your skin looks great, though.
Why?
You have great skin.
Don't make up for it.
It's true.
No, he does. Come on, we're just messing around. We'll begin with Tron. Matt, what do we have?
Tron Legacy. It's 20 years after the original Tron. 20 years after the original Tron, and stars again Jeff Bridges. This time he's trapped in a computer, or he's trapped in a computer again.
Right, but give us 15 seconds on what the story was.
So the story from the original, for those people that never saw it, is it's
and they're missing out.
Right, for the people who were too busy like meeting girls.
Right. So,
having sex.
what are you saying? I don't believe it.
What's Tron about?
All right.
So the original Tron is about Jeff Bridges plays this programmer who has been kind of screwed out of his business by David Warner, actually, who stole his ideas for a game, and he's kind of on the outs, and he keeps trying to hack his way in, and a few things happen, and he actually ends up getting sucked into the mainframe computer that he's been trying to hack into, and he has all these adventures because apparently programs are sentient beings, and he's got to fight his way back out, and
he does
and
at the end of the first one, and now we're in the second one.
Where's the spoiler alert?
Well, that's the first one.
That's the first one.
Right.
Go back and rent the first one because it was very high tech in its day.
Right. So
this
one, it starts off 20 years later. He now owns the company. He's got a son. He disappears at one point when his son is very young, and for 15-something years he's been just disappeared. And his son stumbles across, or his son gets a text, or Bruce Boxleitner gets a page on a pager, and tells his son, "Oh, go check out the old Flynn's arcade that the programmer had run," and he goes and he gets sucked into the computer world where his father has been trapped for 20 years.
Oh, I'm already bored.
And now they've got to fight their way out again.
And it's an IMAX 3D.
And it's an IMAX 3D, and Olivia Wilde is in it looking hot.
For the love of God, run the trailer.
I promised you that if I ever got any information about your dad, I'd tell you first, right? I was paged last night. Came from your dad's office at the arcade. So? The number's been disconnected for 20 years. 2 nights before he disappeared, he came to my house. He said he was about to change everything. Science, medicine, religion. He wouldn't have left that, Sam. He wouldn't have left you.
Alan, you're acting like I'm gonna find him sitting there working. Just, hey kiddo, lost track of time.
Wouldn't that be something?
All right, Tron Legacy. You got to wait that whole time to get a little Jeff Bridges shot there at the end, a little Rooster Cogburn in Tron. There's a lot of light in this. A lot of like, look at our neon lights.
Yeah,
That's your blurb, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I found this movie to be really disappointing. I'm a fan of the original.
You're the target audience. If you make it broad, I mean,
yes, I'm the target audience. I've seen the original a bunch of times. There's a soft spot in my heart for the original. Now, to be clear, the original is not a fantastic piece of filmmaking. It's kind of silly. It's kind of campy. It's kind of goofy. It's got this old kind of Disney charm.
The special effects at the time in '82 were quite good.
They're great. They're great. Yeah. for what it was trying to do, mixing computer animation and traditional animation and live action, it does some really neat stuff, and there's some interesting ideas in it. But ultimately, it's kind of a just goofy old Disney movie, right? This one, I thought they could have done something really cool, and what we really get is kind of like this weird half-ass Matrix meets, you know, all the original ideas from the original Tron that we're going to update visually and not really do anything new. And that's what I found really disappointing. The fight sequences, the action sequences are great, and there's this nifty scene in this nightclub that they go to, run by what's his name?
Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen.
He was that was my favorite part of the movie.
Right, that's one of the better parts of the movie.
When Tony Blair showed up in Tron.
Right, exactly.
Dressed like David Bowie.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And that's kind of a fun part. But the rest of it, it's like, oh, a light cycle battle at the beginning of the movie. Well, we saw that in the other movie. And
But you gotta do all those things. You have to do the light cycle thing. You have to do the little frisbee destruction.
But we've seen all that.
There was a lot of those frisbees, though.
There were a lot, because everyone gets one. No, it's way too long. It gets super repetitive. It's very cool at first, especially when you have that moment, like the sort of Wizard of Oz moment, where it goes from 2D to 3D, like once he enters the grid. Like, it goes like, vroom, and it all opens up, especially in IMAX. It's so cool looking in IMAX 3D. But you're right, it's super repetitive. Like, once you see the light cycle scene, you're like, wait, we've seen that.
Right. Right, and then at the end, you know, there's another scene, kind of, you know, the big chase scene at the end is, without giving too much away, it's effectively the same kind of thing where these vehicles are trailing ribbons of light, and if they run into each other, they crash, and like...
It's also a total Star Wars ripoff.
Right, and it's like, that's the best you guys can do?
Yeah.
Come on.
You know, I feel like this is becoming my go-to criticism, but you touched on it. I mean, it was so repetitive and so hard for me to know what I ought to be paying attention to more than anything else.
Well, the mythology is also like totally convoluted. It's this weird mishmash of like Eastern philosophy and religion.
And takes itself entirely
so
too seriously.
And a lot of explaining.
Well, and one of the things I missed about the first one is, in the first one, you know, when Jeff Bridges goes into this world, he's a smartass. He knows things are really weird. He makes these little wise-ass comments left and right. And there's a sense of fun in the movie. In this one, that character has completely changed, and it's almost like they want him to be some kind of Zen master or something. And there's no fun to this movie, and that's what really bothered me about it.
Yeah, there's no fun. It seemed like a waste of Jeff Bridges. The coolest thing to me is seeing what I think. I'm curious what you guys think, but what will be a technical aspect of filmmaking that we're going to see more and more is giving us the 1980s against all odds Jeff Bridges. The same sort of Benjamin Button effect. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool. Like, I remember one of my favorite Eastwood movies is In the Line of Fire, the Malkovich Secret Service movie. I love it because he has a cold. No movie do they ever give the lead character the flu and just have it be a thing.
Right.
You know, he's just a little rundown. But I love that movie, and one of the great things that they do in that movie is putting Eastwood's picture running alongside JFK's car in Dallas on November 22nd, 1963, and that's just a photo. But I remember that and thinking in 1993, I was like, that's so cool. It looks like it was there, a young Eastwood. How did they do that? And now that's nothing. And don't you think we'll be seeing a lot more of this?
I mean, it's kind of cool for a couple of reasons. It's cool that Bridges would allow himself to be depicted once again as his much better looking younger self. Like, I think a lot of actors with enormous egos might not feel that comfortable going back and remembering, oh yeah, I used to be really young and good looking or whatever, but he's got enough sense of self to do that.
Yeah.
The technology is very cool, except for when he opens his mouth and starts actually talking. It's a little wobbly around there.
It looks like Conan, you know, the little mouth moving thing.
It's kind of similar to that, but it's a neat trick, and I think they're close. They'll get better with it.
They're close, but they're still kind of in the uncanny valley and not quite believable. It's very close. It'll be interesting to see, 3 or 4 years from now, what we actually get.
Yeah, it's definitely coming, and it's going to come more.
Yeah. Can we discuss Olivia Wilde for a sec?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Okay. I think she's really good in this, and she's actually acting and brings some context and some characterization to a character who could have just been like pretty, and she's gorgeously, stunningly hot. She's like the most gorgeous person I've ever seen in person. When I saw her at the Emmy red carpet one year, I'm like, you are a freak. You are freakishly beautiful. She's lovely. But
Did you walk up to her and say you were a freak?
No, she came down the line.
That story
and I'm
would have
like,
been
oh my
so
God.
much better.
I'm like, I can't talk.
You are a freak.
But in a good way. No, but she can actually act and bring some depth to a character who could have just been like the pretty sidekick.
No, she was great in this movie. I thought that her character was one of the more interesting things in this movie. But one of the things that was disappointing is that they kept bringing up these ideas that they never really, I felt, fully explored, as opposed to something like The Matrix. I felt like really the sequel to The Matrix, the sequel to the Tron that we'd been waiting for, we got with The Matrix, really. And that was a movie that, you know, at least, I'm not talking about the sequels. The original one is very tight, and the questions it raises, it kind of answers within the movie. In Tron Legacy, you get all these questions that come up about what is life, and are these new life forms, and what's going on, and you know, kind of this nature of reality stuff, and they just kind of like get raised and then just ignored. And
I didn't care what the answers were. It was just one thing after another. And I mean, I'll give you Olivia Wilde as the best part of it, you know, but it's a little like, who's your favorite Nazi?
She's not a Nazi.
Everyone's favorite game. No, I just mean you're asking to pick the best of the work. But she was good. I like it, and she is smoking. First of all, Bruce Boxleitner. The best part of this movie was that I want to go buy the DVD box set of Scarecrow and Mrs. King, which I loved growing up.
You're the only one who wants to run out and do that.
Right, totally. Kate Jackson was my favorite angel. Like
weird.
I know I'm weird. I know I stand large.
Cheryl Ladd.
See, clearly I am the target demo for Tron because I'm thinking, yeah, I loved him in Babylon 5.
Yeah, totally. We're on a different. We seem to be the same generation, but it turns out we're not. Okay, and because we mentioned Olivia Wilde, really quick, I don't want to dwell on it because I think I know where this is headed. But the kid, Sam Flynn, Garrett Hedlund.
Garrett Hedlund is like generically good looking and kind of cocky, and you can see that he might have Jeff Bridges' DNA in him potentially. He's fine. He's serviceable.
He was fine. I would have liked to have seen somebody in this movie be the cocky smartass that we'd seen in the original.
I think it would have helped.
That would have gone a long way.
I think it would have helped. Jeff Bridges I saw on Jimmy Fallon, and I don't even think he really sold it. Like I was like, he was, no, I saw it. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. You know, like it didn't seem as all right. Ratings.
I give it a 6. I give it a 6 only because it looks really, really good. It looks fantastic. But
6.5.
And I'm probably too high.
Yeah, 6.5. I'm close.
Wow. All right. Look at that. It should have been called Yawn.
No, you cannot get a high five on that.
No,
That was horrible.
nothing.
We're going to save up a high five.
I'll give you the blank stare of hate.
4.1, and I'm being generous. That brings the overall score of Tron to 5.5. So a little better than average. You
How
guys
is it doing on the tomato meter?
Low. At last I checked, 47%.
Okay.
Very low.
All right, so we're about, we
Yeah, I
are
mean,
representative
right.
of the critical
Right.
world here with Tron, although I'm on the right half.